Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. So today's video, I was a little mistaken. I thought it was going to be the one with the ink blending, but we're still going to use a new stencil set. This is from Sizzix, and I love trees. Christmas, trees, I love it. So we're going to use a stencil, some stamps, and we're going to use the new Sizzix platform, and we're going to play. Okay, so I'm just fixing because there was like a little smudge here on my paper. So I'm using my Tombow eraser to try and get that taken care of. And now I got my platform set up. We're going to start by stamping our first tree. So what my plan is there's to use 3 different size trees. Is it trees? And I'm going to stamp this one and then put a mask over it and stamp the other 2 so they look like they're behind this tree. And what I love about it is, I don't have a whole lot of space. So I love the fact that I can just take this out of the platform, ink it up, and then put it right back in and know that it's going to land right in the same exact spot. And then I stamped a version of it on top of some masking paper. And the stamp on the masking paper doesn't have to be perfect at all. You just want to have the shape so you can put it's almost like a post-it note over top of your image. And then that'll allow you to stamp, or you could color behind. You can do a lot of different techniques with the masking. Okay. So I wind up stamping on the back side of it, which was funny. I didn't realize it was the back side, but it's okay. So I can line up the 2 step down in sizes. We're going to go ahead and get those on the platform and then get those inked up. And I'm still using my Versaclear Black Onyx ink. And we'll go ahead and put it back in. And I'm actually using my Pink Fresh, what do they call this? It's sort of like a press tool. And I love it. There was a couple of times when I was using this platform and I didn't have it. And I kept kind of trying to find it. And finally, I found it in a drawer, which is always the case. And I was able to use it with this platform, and it helps. It really does. So now I'm using the extender piece so that way I can line up where I want the snow to be on my main tree. And then I wanted to figure out, I was going to use the holes for that extender piece right there, but I wind up being able to kind of just lay it down and be okay. And right now, I'm just putting a little masking paper like right along the bottom of the tree because I didn't want any of the embossing to get on the trunk of the tree, like the part closest to the ground. So with Versaclear, as with any like pigment ink, it does take a little bit for it to dry. I use this static powder, but it doesn't matter. If that ink is still even remotely wet, it's going to stick to it. So when you look at the close-ups of the cards, you're going to see embossing on more of this particular tree than on the tree that we do in a little bit. And I think it's just because I had to stamp it. I think I stamped it twice. And so it was still very wet by the time I was trying to do the snow. And anywhere where you can see that there's embossing powder, if you grab a paintbrush, you can always brush it off. so that way it's just in the areas where you want it. And just be careful, because that mat on top of your platform, it's very sticky. And if you have a tendency to spill embossing powder, it feels really horrible to the touch. So I tried in future videos not to use the embossing powder on top of that. So now we're just heating up our embossing powder. And I always heat from behind and I heat from the top. And then we're going to just trim it down a little bit. And I'm just taking like 1/8 of an inch off. And what I decided to do, I think on this one, I do both sides. Just to try and keep it as even as possible, you know? And this will allow us to have a little bit of a border around our cardstock. And then this is our sentiment, which we're going to put up at the top. And I thought I had my cards right here. Oh, I do. Okay, so the sentiment at the top says, warm wishes for happy holidays. And then we're just going to use some of our Nuvo tape and the glue. I really like the glue press. I really do. It helps a lot. Sometimes I do have to unclog because I forget to put the lid back on after I'm done crafting. But I just put one of my pins through and it's fine. So I had a little smudge again because my hands are all inked up. So this is the one where I wound up having the ink down the center. But this one turned out exactly how I envisioned the project to go. So since this isn't like a bright gold, we used a platinum. I'm going to use Weatherwood Spritz and go ahead and use that as splatters on both cards. And then I believe I also grabbed the black. Let me just double check. Yes, I do grab the black soot, distress stain as well. And really, that's all you need. Sometimes I do 3 colors. Sometimes I only do the 2. And for this project, I think the 2 was good, you know, because the black splatters kind of give a feel of snowflakes, but you know, on white cardstock, white snowflakes wouldn't work, obviously. So I liked using the black and that weathered wood. It really gives it a little bit of something. So on this one here, we used the stamp set and a stencil to create an added effect with the embossing powder to give the card a little something something. And then we did the splatters. This was super fun, easy, and really you could mass produce this no problems. So the last video, the one prior to this one, I talked to you guys about our next video, which is actually going to be in this week coming. So thank you guys again, and I hope you have a great day.